What if the brand that made sexy a household word had a not-so-sexy past? Glamorous fashion shows, angel wings, and impossibly perfect models. But behind it all, greed, exploitation, body shaming, and some truly disturbing ties to one of the most infamous predators in recent history. This isn't your typical brand breakdown, this is Dark Files. Hey everyone, my name's Cassie, and welcome to the first episode of Dark Files, where we unbox the glitzy packaging of pop culture and reveal the ugly truth that hides underneath. And today we are going to be diving into the twisted story of Victoria's real secret. Let's rewind to 1977. Roy Raymond was uncomfortable shopping for lingerie for his wife. So naturally, he decided to create an entire brand that would make it easier for men to buy underwear for women. Because that's what women really want, right? Some lingerie. Roy took out a loan and opened the first Victoria's Secret store in Palo Alto. I hope I said that correctly. It had a posh Victorian style aesthetic, thus the name. And it was designed to look like a man's version of classy femininity. But Roy's reign was short-lived. Just 5 years later, he sold the company to a man named Les Wexner for $1 million. He shifted the focus from elegant to eroticized, launching catalogs and in-store branding aimed at what he believed men wanted to see women wearing. The result? A brand that built an entire identity around a male's fantasy and told women it was empowerment. Fast forward to the 2000s, and Victoria's Secret wasn't just a lingerie brand. It was the standard of beauty. The annual fashion show became a cultural event, watched by millions. Wings, glitter, and runway abs for days. Here's the problem. The women that were chosen to walk the runway, the angels, had one body type, and it was entirely unobtainable by the average person. These women weren't just slim, they were dangerously thin, with 23-inch waists and towering legs. Not a single visible roll, stretch mark, or any imperfections. Erin Heatherton, a former angel, later revealed that she was pressured to lose more weight,
claiming the lingerie company pressured her to shed some lbs,
even when she was already at a size 2.
Erin Heatherton opens up about her struggles with body image.
She said she was taking diet pills,
said she felt, quote, depressed trying to reach her fitness goals,
and working out twice a day just to keep her contract.
Quote, I remember staring at my food and thinking maybe I should just not eat.
And the worst part? That culture trickled down to us. To the 14-year-old girls walking into a store plastered with semi-nude photos, thinking, why don't I look like that? This wasn't just marketing. This was psychological warfare, disguised as lace. Now, if that wasn't unsettling enough, here's where things start to get really nasty. Les Wexner, the man who owned Victoria's Secret, had a disturbingly close relationship with none other than Jeffrey Epstein. To understand just how tangled Victoria's Secret was in Jeffrey Epstein's web, we need to talk about the man behind the curtain, Les Wexner. He was a retail kingpin. By the mid-90s, he controlled Abercrombie & Fitch, Bath & Body Works, and most importantly, L Brands. He handed over power of attorney to Jeffrey Epstein. Let me say that again. Epstein didn't just manage his money. He could legally sign checks, buy property, even hire and fire people on Wexner's behalf. That is how much trust he had in him. Epstein had no financial license, no background in any type of money management, and had already raised eyebrows in his mysterious wealth. Yet Wexner gave him total access. And guess what Epstein did with that access? Multiple women came forward stating that Epstein had lured them in using his Victoria's Secret ties. He posed as a recruiter or a talent scout. His pitch was simple. You're beautiful. You could model for Victoria's Secret. Here, let me help you out. In 1997, model Alicia Arden met Epstein after he told her that he would get her a contract with Victoria's Secret. Instead, he assaulted her. She filed a police report, but nothing ever came of it. surprising. That's right, a woman literally said, "Hey, this guy's pretending to work for your brand and he assaulted me." And the company just simply ignored it. Wexner didn't cut ties with Epstein until 2007. That is an entire decade later, and only after Epstein's first arrest for his assaults. Wexner has maintained that he had no idea that Epstein was doing any of this. It says Epstein misappropriated vast sums of money from him. But let's be real. How does someone steal millions, pose as your company's scout, and live in your mansions without raising at least one eyebrow? Critics say Wexner either looked the other way or just simply didn't want to know. Ignorance is bliss, but either way, it paints a really damning picture of a culture that prioritized money and reputation over women's safety. This wasn't just one creep acting alone. This was a very powerful man, connected to an even more powerful brand, and protected by silence. Epstein used Victoria's Secret's brand as a front for grooming young women. And the fact that nobody at the top ever seemed to intervene for over a decade speaks volumes about what Victoria's Secret really stood for behind closed doors. But in 1991, Les made a decision that would haunt his legacy forever. Epstein had access to Wexner's homes, planes, money, everything. And reportedly, he even posed as a Victoria's Secret recruiter. Several women came forward claiming that Epstein approached them under false promise of modeling for the brand. One woman said Epstein assaulted her after telling her that he was connected to the company, and Wexner, he claimed he cut ties once he found out. This wasn't just about brand mismanaging, this was about unchecked power and the exploitation of vulnerable young women under the illusion of fame. As public opinion started shifting and the brand's outdated ideals were harder to ignore, things began to unravel. Sales started tanking, and that led to the fashion show being cancelled in 2019. And suddenly, Victoria's Secret realized maybe, just maybe, the world didn't want to be sold self-hate in the form of rhinestoned push-up bras anymore. So in a bold and honestly very desperate move, the company scrapped its very infamous angels in 2021. Enter VS Collective. Activists, athletes. They brought in women like Megan Rapinoe, who is literally quoted saying that the brand used to be sexist and harmful to women, which is true. But also, why are you there then? The rebrand felt like putting a band-aid on a bullet wound. Critics called it performative. Shoppers weren't buying it, figuratively and literally. And the former angels who were pushed to starvation never got a public apology and never got a form of the company taking any type of accountability. So what do we do with a brand like Victoria's Secret? A brand that dressed up toxicity in glitter and wings, that sold insecurity in lace and satin, that built itself on controlling women's bodies while pretending to empower them. I will say this, they are not the only ones, but they are one of the loudest. And for decades, we listened. Thanks for diving into the dark files with me. If you made it this far, you deserve a cookie and a bralette that actually fits. If you want more deep dives into the dark files of brands, creators, and pop culture, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. If you have a suggestion for the next episode, drop it in the comments. I'm all ears.